All right, so we are here with another recording with you guys. It's Mr. Jupardo. This week we're going to be doing some math. Hope y'all are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying up with your work. Hopefully you're able to see that last video and give that a shot. If you weren't able to, just go take a look. It'll be up on the YouTube page along with this one. But we'll jump right in. Like I said, we're doing math this week, and it should be pretty familiar to you. So let's go right into it. We're going to be talking about numbers and specifically the word, number, and expanded form for them. So this is some stuff that we did at the beginning of the year. Like I said, should hopefully be pretty familiar, and if not, it'll be a nice little refresher, nice little primer to help you out. Hopefully it can help you out with some of your packet work if you were struggling. So, going into it. First off, what are we doing? Like I said, you could remember this from earlier in the year. Numbers can be identified in a variety of ways depending on the situation and what it requires. So sometimes you want to write out a number using words. Sometimes you need to write it out using numbers. Sometimes you need to break it into smaller chunks for one reason or another. This all helps us develop what we call number sense. And that's like a teacher word that basically means you understand numbers. And that's something that's really important. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But it's just really, this is a skill that's really going to help you out throughout everything you do in math, all the way up through high school and even beyond. So, like I said, why do we care? These skills will show up in later algorithms and strategies. And if you remember, algorithm's a fancy word for a strategy or a way to do something. So, you need to separate numbers like you do in expanded form to do array, or like sometimes we'll call it in class, or sometimes people call it box multiplication. So what I mean is if you're multiplying 25 times 32, you need to be able to break it up into 20 and 5 and 30 and 2. And that's basically what you're doing in expanded form anyway. So these skills do transfer over. You use them in different stuff. They show up a lot. Leads to a greater understanding of what you're doing, especially if you're just learning something. And it also comes from a common base of understanding. And what do I mean by that? If we all speak the same way, if we all identify numbers correctly, math just works much better. So going from that, let's kind of just get into it. But first, let's talk about place value, because this is kind of what we got to build off of. Okay, place value, as you can see, it starts right to left. Okay, and we're only going to work up to millions today. Okay, starting with the ones, tens, and hundreds. This number here is 119. Okay, so ones, tens, and hundreds. Followed by that, you have your thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So it kind of mirrors the tens places there. So it's 1,000, 10,000s, 100,000s. And after that, you got millions, then 10 millions, 100 millions, and so on. So it builds up from there, remembering that to the right of the ones, you start to get into decimals, and that's not really what we're doing right now. So you're building right to left. And generally, when you're starting to write these numbers, if you're trying to just construct them, I would recommend trying to work right to left. So, number form. Number form, it's also called base 10, is the standard way of writing numbers. Okay? Take your time. Make sure you're respecting all the place values of what you're writing. Okay? So what I'm going to do just as a little practice, and we have some more practice at the end, so I'm not going to take a ton of time to, well, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. You pause the video, do what I'm saying, and then, you can check your work. But this is just an example. We're going to have practice at the end, okay? So our first number that I want you to write out is 381,274. I'll say it again, 381,274 in number form. So I'd pause the video now, give a pause, and then we'll take a look at it and I'll explain something. All right, so we're moving into it. It looks like 381,274. So things to think about is I would start with the 274 and then the 381,000, making sure that we are not just, because I think that what will happen sometimes is you don't respect place value if you don't build it right to left. Also make sure you have in those commas, because that really makes everything just much easier to read and to keep track of. Okay? Now for word form. This takes practice for the spelling. A couple tips, don't put and where it doesn't go. So for example, the number is 284, not 284. Okay? So that's a minor, it seems like a very small difference, but it's actually kind of important. But the big thing is try to write it exactly how it's supposed to be written. Now, I understand if you make misspellings, that just comes from practice. Do your best with this. We're going to do the same number again. So in word form, I'd like you to try to write out 381,274. I'll take a pause now. All right, moving into it, 381,274. Okay, you can put dashes in there in between like the 300 and stuff. I personally don't. That's a personal preference. That comma there is important because it kind of gives you a pause when you're reading it, makes it more easy to understand. So, not a lot to word form. You're just writing out the word or the number in words. And now finally, expanded form. Expanded form is breaking a number down into its component numbers. So you're basically listing each place value and the corresponding amount or value in it. So if you have 25, it's equal to 20 plus 5. So the 5 is in the ones place, the 2 is in the tens place, but since it's 2 tens, it's 20. So looking at that next number, 3,488, it is 3,000 plus 400 plus 80 plus 8. Why? Well, there's an 8 in the ones place. That is equal to 8 ones. There is an 8 in the tens place. That is equal to 80 or 8 tens. A 4 in the hundreds place, which is 4 hundreds. And a 3 in the thousands place, which is 3,000. Now, if you were to add all of this up, remember, guys, it actually should equal the correct number. So that's an easy way to check your work. If you add up your expanded form and it doesn't equal the right number, there's a problem. And the one thing to remember is if there is a 0, there is nothing to put there. So if the number was 205, it would be 200 plus 5. There is no tens place there, so you don't have to put a 0 in there. I mean, if you do, it's not wrong, but there's no need to put a 0 in if there's a 0 in the place value. So doing the same number, try to write out in expanded form 381,274. I'll take a pause. All right, let's take a look. So you have a 4 in the ones place, which is 4 ones, a 7 in the tens place, so 7 tens is 70, 2 hundreds is 200, 1,000, 8 10,000s is 80,000, and 3 100,000s is 300,000. Now, I know in class, and it's kind of hard to do this on the computer, we did a strategy where we kind of call it the pizza slice, where you work your way down. If you remember that, that's a great way to keep things straight on this. Maybe I'll do a video later where I go over just specifically that, but that is just a strategy we used in class. I know some people like to do it just left or right, horizontal like this, so it's really your preference. So, we're going to try some extra practice now, and I'm going to give you some tips as we go, point out some common mistakes you can make, but I'm just going to give you 3 additional numbers, and what I'd like you to do is give them to me in all 3 ways. Now, I'm going to read them out loud. So what I mean is, I'm going to say the number, then you need to write it in expanded, word, and number form. Now, I'm going to give you all 3 numbers right now, then I'm going to pause, let you do the work, and then we're just going to jump into the explanation and the checking, okay? So your first number is going to be 8,025. 8,025. The next number, 24,544. Again, that's 24,544. And the third number is 964,712. 964,712. So go ahead and pause the video, take as much time as you need, and then when you come back, I'm going to give about 10 seconds of a pause, and then we will go into this. I will talk about it some, and we can just get some practice. So go ahead. All right, jumping into it. Your first number was 8,025. So you have 8,025. You have 8,000 plus 20 plus 5. Notice there is no hundreds place, So that 0, if you wanted to have 8,000 plus 0 plus 20 plus 5, it is not incorrect. It's just unnecessary. And as you can see, the number itself is, and then we're just going to read it just as the numbers, 8025. And we're putting the comma between the 8 and the 0 just to indicate that it's the break there, the thousands place. Okay? Next one, 24,544. Now notice one thing, just a 40 doesn't have a U in it. Sometimes I even almost forget that. So it's just, these are just things you got to practice. So the word form's right there. Your expanded form, notice there's nothing all that tricky about this one. 4 ones, 4 tens, 5 hundreds, 4 thousands, and 2 10,000s give us, and again, just reading the number, and this is not how we give numbers, but just so we can go over it, 24, 544, 24,544. And on to our last example, 964,712. Okay, notice you got 2 ones, 1 10, 7 hundreds, 4 thousands, 6 10,000s or 60,000, and 9 100,000s or 900,000, giving us, reading from left to right, 964, 712 or 964,712. Now, there's more that we could talk about here. We're going to jump. I want to make some follow-up videos to this where maybe we can go over some of the specific strategies for expanded form. There's just a lot to cover right here, and I wanted to keep the video a little bit shorter. Like I said, if you remember, we called it the pizza method, just for lack of a better term. It's more of a triangle or a pizza slice where you kind of work your way down with the expanded form, and notice as you go down, because it gets from the bigger place values to the smaller ones, it makes an inverted triangle or a pizza slice. So that is just one way to kind of visualize as you're doing it. If you notice that it's getting bigger as you go down, you got a problem, right? If you notice that it's not, it's jutting out or something. But like I said, maybe I'll do another video to follow up on that. If you have any questions about anything that you see here, feel free to get in contact with me. You all know how to. I hope you all are staying safe out there. I hope you're staying busy. We only got about a week and a half left of school, so hopefully you guys are able to complete this. And if I don't speak to you again, have an awesome summer. Thanks.